good morning, and good evening. Thank you very much for joining our Joint Crediting Mechanism webinar. I'm your host, Kaoru Yamaguchi from Global Environment Center Foundation, GC. We are very happy to hold our first JCM seminar for our audience in Tunisia, and we hope you stay until the end as we have many guest speakers who will share the most up-to-date information about JCM as well as relevant policies in Tunisia and more. Before we invite the guest speakers to the screen, I have just a couple of housekeeping announcements for the audience. And the first item is about interpretation. We do have English and French interpreters available today. Please use the interpretation option located on the menu bar on your Zoom screen. If you wish not to hear any interpretation, you can select off. And by selecting mute original audio when you use interpreter's channel, you can choose to hear only the interpreter's voice. And the next item is Q&A. We'll be holding Q&A session at the end of each section of this webinar. Please use the Q&A feature also on your Zoom screen. It's also on the bottom menu bar. When you submit us your questions, please write it in English as much as possible. And also please remember to write the name of the speaker that your question is for, so that speakers will know which questions are for them, and we also know which speaker to bring back to the screen. And the last item is about questionnaire. When you exit this webinar Zoom screen, you will see a questionnaire pop up on your web browser. This is just a few questions. It won't take too long. So we hope that you'll take just a few minutes of your time to answer them. Your feedback, your opinion, your input are very, very important to us. So with that out of the way, we're going to start with the opening remarks. We have Mr. Mohamed Zmeri. He is a national focal point of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, and he's also from the Ministry of Environment with the Republic of Tunisia. So Mr. Zmeri, welcome to the webinar. We're very happy to have you here, and you have the floor. Sorry, I think your micro. Oh,
Thank you very much. Maybe I will speak in French. Je voudrais tout d'abord souhaiter le bienvenue à Monsieur Sataki.
First of all, allow me to welcome Mr. Sataki, the advisor to the Japanese embassy in Tunisia. I would like to thank the colleagues, our friends from the government of Japan, the Global Environment Center, GEC, for all the efforts which have been engaged for the preparation of this webinar. And I wanted to thank the UNIDO for all the work in terms of helping and supporting Tunisia in the framework of the JCM program. First of all, again, allow me to have some opening remarks. First of all, Tunisia, since August 2022, is part of the joint accrediting mechanism. Tunisia is being an active member. We are a JCM member with the main objective to support Tunisia, like all the other member states, for its development of the economy and also to reach its objective. And in order to have the national level of every country. Also, Tunisia, since 2021, updated its CGN And the objective of Tunisia, again, in terms of attenuation and mitigation, is to ensure a better economic situation, which would be carbon sober and neutral, with the objective to reduce the carbon print and the carbon intensity with 45% before 2030, and to put Tunisia in the trajectory of the carbon neutrality by 2050. It is actually an effort. It's an ambitious objective, which is requiring lots of effort, lots of work, lots of commitment at the national level, but also opening in terms of funding and investment in the framework of the reduction of emission and carbonization of our economy. Indeed, the JCM mechanism and all of the instruments of Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on Climate could play an important role in the implementation of the green investment and the decarbonization of the Tunisian economy. I think also that the private sector in Tunisia could play an important role, altogether with the public sector in order to reach these ambitious objectives through the implementation of a whole favorable system for the green economy, mostly in the areas of Tunisia and some sectors like energy, transport, the sustainable construction alternatives, the industry, and everything related to the industrial processes and all of the sustainable management of wastes. All of these sectors and topics are very important for Tunisia to reach its objective. Since 2022, we have engaged another work, which is to identify the projects which would be very useful in the reduction of emission and to reach its objectives, which were already identified long time ago. I think this is in this framework that we have started today to mobilize all of the public players, all the private players around the green investment, which will be leading to the mitigation and to the reduction of emissions. I'm so happy today to see within our participants some experts, representative of the public and the private sector in Tunisia, and also the expertise that we are having with the support of JCM in Tunisia in order to reach our objectives in a consistent and sustainable way, in order to reach real decarbonization of the economy within the framework of the Paris Agreement on Climate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zimeri Bassi, for the kind opening remarks. And we have a next speaker. His name is Mr. Hirotsu Satake. He is a counselor from the Embassy of Japan in Tunisia. So, Mr. Satake, welcome to the webinar. You have the floor.
Thank you, Jachère. Si vous permettez, je souhaite également m'exprimer en français, l'une des langues officielles de la Tunisie.
I will speak in French, if you allow me. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Zmerli for his opening remarks and for your warm remarks. And when we talk about the collaboration we have with the Embassy of Japan and our contribution to this webinar. To all of you, good morning. I'm very pleased to be here with you this morning, and I'm so honored to be here with you. I am the new first advisor to the Embassy of Japan. I arrived 2 weeks ago. I'm so happy to be here and to discover the beauty of this country. Also, I would like to thank all the members, all of the representative of the ministries of environment in Tunisia and Japan, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Japanese partners. I want to thank everyone. This webinar is the first event that I'm attending since I'm here in Tunisia. I am here on behalf of the JCM, and I believe that it's such an important task. Before the TICAD 8, there was a memorandum of cooperation for the creation of JCM, which has been signed, which was a great success. And it was the first meeting of the mixed group, which happened last June. I'm very pleased to notice that we are having some considerable progress for the implementation of this mechanism. Japan is reducing the gas emission with 46% before 2030 compared to 2013, and to reach a net zero carbon by 2050. For this, Japan has the intention to use credits of JCM in order to reach its contribution to the national level. We are hoping vividly that this mechanism of JCM would be contributing to the decarbonization of Tunisia through this reduction of the emission and the technologies and to consolidate the contribution and the collaboration between both countries. Thanks to the different agreements and relationships which were built during the TICAD, we will have with the JCM a great contribution between the Tunisian and Japanese companies and businesses. Consequently, we recognize that today's webinar is a concrete step for the implementation of mechanisms which will be beneficial for both countries. I would like to conclude my opening remarks to say that today's webinar will be consolidating the relationship between Japan and Tunisia. I would like to thank you for your attention and dedication today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Satake, for the opening remarks as well. And I'd like to just thank the two speakers for the warm and welcoming opening remarks. And with that, I think the stage is set for the next session, information on the JCM progress. And would like to invite the first guest speaker, Mr. Kentaro Takahashi. He's Assistant Director at Office of Director for International Cooperation for Transition to Decarbonization and Sustainable Infrastructure, Global Environment Bureau at the Ministry of Environment, Japan. And he has a presentation entitled Recent Developments for the Joint Crediting Mechanism, JCM. With that, Takahashi-san, we're very happy to see you on our webinar today. You have the floor now.
Thank you very much for your kind introductions. Good morning, good afternoon, evening, everyone. I'm Kentaro Takahashi, Assistant Director, Ministry of the Environment, Japan. I'm responsible for the JCM and Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. It's my pleasure to make our presentations today because this is the first time to organize a JCM workshop for Tunisian stakeholders. And also, I'm very pleased to hear that 140 registrations are coming from the Tunisian side, and we really want to formulate more projects in Tunisia in the future. And we also would like to thank you for your support, Mr. Hirowatsu Satake, Counselor, Embassy of Japan in Tunisia, and Mr. Mohammad Zumeri, National Focal Point of the UNFCCC, Ministry of the Environment at Tunisia, as well as the Global Environmental Center Foundation for prepare and arrange this important event today. Today, it's my presentations. I just want to briefly explain the recent development of the JCM. Before going to the more detailed JCM explanations, I would like to touch upon the JCM emission and target in Japan. Next slide, please. In our NDC, Japan aimed to reduce its greenhouse gas emission by 46% in 2030 from 2013 level, as Mr. Satake already mentions. This was set as an ambitious target, which is aligned with the long-term goal of achieving net zero by 2050. As you can see, this graph, our GHG emissions in 2021 was 1.122 billion tons CO2 equivalent. Also, this was a 20.3% decline compared to 2013 level. We really need to reduce more greenhouse gas emissions. To achieve NDCs, we plan to acquire a certain amount of the JCM credit. In our target, Japan, we will aim to contribute to the international emission reductions and removal at the level of the cumulative GHG emission reduction 100 million tons by 2030 through the public-private collaborations. So through our JCM corporation, we will appropriately count the acquired credit to achieve our NDCs. Next slide shows the concept of the JCM. So JCM is a bilateral cooperation between Japan and our partner country. The objective of this mechanism is to facilitate diffusions of the leading decarbonizing technology and infrastructure through investment by Japanese entities. Through these mechanisms, we contribute to the GHG emission reductions or removal and sustainable development in our partner country. We also implement the JCM consistent with Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement. So it means the amount of emission reductions and removal acquired by Japan and the JCM will be appropriately counted as a Japan's reduction consistent with Article 6.2 guidance, which was adopted at COP26. Next slide shows the progress of our JCM. So far, we have made significant progress under the JCMs with our partner country. As I mentioned, we have so far now we have many partner country and 28 partner country as of today. We plan to expand the number of our partner country up to 30 by 2025. Since we are still negotiating with the several candidate countries, we hope to have a new partner country in the future. And for the project formulations, we have more than 240 projects supported by the government of Japan, including the Ministry of the Environment Japan and Ministry of the Economic and Trade Industry and forestry agencies. So in our current project pipeline, our expected emission reductions are approximately 20 million tons CO2. Since we have a 100 million tons CO2 target by 2030, we really need to develop more projects. For scaling up the JCM project in the future, the government of Japan, we will seek any potential type of the project like forestry and CCS and other sectors. To calculate greenhouse gas emission reductions, as you know, we need to develop the methodology, and so far we have approved more than 100 methodologies, and there are similar type of methodology related to the renewable energies. So in the future, when necessary, we can utilize the some components and elements of the existing approved methodology from our partner country, and we will develop the methodology for Tunisian side. And as I already mentioned, we will follow the Article 6 guidance. And for the support on the institutional arrangements, our ministry, we will provide the support through the Article 6 implementation partnership, which was established at COP27. And we recognize the importance of the corresponding adjustments and authorization reporting and tracking. So we will contribute through our partnership center. So thank you very much for your support, Tunisia, for participating in our partnership and seek more cooperation. So next slide is the list of our partner country, and as I mentioned, 28 partner country already signed, and we have a various partner from each region, Asia and Pacific, Africa, Latin America, and Central Asia and Middle East. After COP26, we have 11 new partner countries. So Tunisia, we signed the MOEJ on 26 August last year. And this week, we just signed the MOEJ with Republic of the Kazakhstan on October 30th. So we are very much pleased to have new countries. So next slide shows what kind of the project is eligible for the JCM project. So JCM financing program by Ministry of the Environment Japan, we have supported various types of the projects in the past, such as renewable energy projects, solar PV, and also hydropower. And also we have several types of the projects from the energy efficiency project from the consumer sectors, industry sector, and urban sectors. And we have also waste and transporting sectors under the JCM. So more than 50% of the total project are coming from the renewable energy sector. So I think we have a more potential to develop the renewable energy sector, but we also like to expand the other type of the sector in the future. Next slide shows our activity and also support by the government of Japan. So in order to implement the JCM, I think there are several areas which is necessary for support, especially for our partner country. So we have 4 areas: capacity building, project development, and project implementation, and monitoring evaluation support. For capacity building, as I mentioned, JCM is aligned with the Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement. So we support the institutional arrangement. So after signing the JCM, I think the JCM Secretariat was established. And since the capacity development is necessary for our partner country side, so in case of the Tunisian side, I think the Ministry of the Environment Tunisia is really need for the capacity building activities. So we plan to provide the support how we will operate JCM and also methodology development as well as registry development. And as for the project development, involvement of the private sector is very much important because the project will be formulated by project developer. So to find the opportunity between Japan and Tunisian sides, the workshop and seminar is very helpful for creating networks among stakeholders. So this workshop is also one of the objectives to create our network amongst our stakeholders. So for the project implementation, we have a list of the financial support as well as the feasibility study. So next slide shows the list of our support by Japanese government. So please, next slide. So from our ministry, as you can see the table, there are 5 programs, financing program for the JCM model project financing program for F-gas recovery, and also Japan Fund for JCM by ADB, and JCM support program by UNITO, and we have also MRV support. And from other ministry, METI and forestry agencies, they also provide opportunity for conducting a feasibility study to find more prospects. So today, because of the limited time, I just want to focus on the three programs supported by MOEJs. So next slide, please. So financing programs for the JCM model project is supported by our ministry. So later, DEC, who is the secretariat of our financing program, they will explain more detail, including how to apply this program. So this program provides a financial support for investment costs, and this support provides a subsidy up to half of the investment cost. So to receive the subsidy from this program, the international consortium, including the Japanese entity and Tunisian entity, should be formulated. And our scope of the financial support is facility, equipment, vehicle, which reduce CO2 from fossil fuel combustion, as well as the construction costs for the facility. So annually, we prepare the budget for this program. And so if you have any interest to join, I think you can check all the process. And we publish all the information in our website. So next slide shows the financing programs, JCM, F-gas recovery and destruction model project. So if we compare the size of the budget with financing program for the JCM model project, the budget is quite small, but our ministry really want to contribute to the reduction of the F-gas. And our scope for financial support is install the facility for recovery destruction and also implementation of the recovery and transportation. So this is also one of our programs supported by MOEJ. So next slide, please. So this support program focus on our partner country, mainly in African region. So the objective of this program is to promote transition to a decarbonization of society by developing the decarbonizing technology. So later, Mr. Nagamori will present the UNIDO program in more detail. So I just want to just show this slide today. So finally, in the final slide, so this slide shows how many projects have been formulated under the JCM financing program. So I'm very much sorry for this busy terms. Since Asian countries have signed the JCM around 2013 and 2014, so around 10 years ago, we signed with many countries in Asia. So that's why the many projects in Asia Pacific have been developed so far. Since the number of the projects developed in African region is still quite small, so we really look for more opportunity here in Tunisia. And so let's try to develop more projects so that we can reduce our greenhouse gas emissions in the country, and we really want to have more collaboration in the future. So again, so thank you very much for your participation today, and welcome any questions and clarification and Q&A session. And back to moderator, I am Yamaguchi-san. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Takahashi-san, for the very comprehensive, all-encompassing presentation. I think it was very helpful for the audience to sort of have the first understanding of JCM. Also interesting to hear, I think, for the audience that you shared information about the capacity building efforts and the monitoring and reporting support the ministry is also providing to the partner countries. So thank you again for that presentation. And I would like to welcome the next speaker, Mr. Samir Amus. He's an international expert on climate change, and he has a presentation entitled Tunisia's Policy for Decarbonization, a National Strategy for the Implementation of Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, and Expectations for the JCM. So welcome, Mr. Amus. You have the floor now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to giving me this opportunity to make this presentation. Hello, everybody. Hello, every participant here. I hope that my presentation will clarify the subject, which relates to Tunisian policy for decarbonization, and also national strategy for the implementation of Article 6 to the participants. So I'm going to put my presentation. So I will cover mainly 6 points here, starting with the NDC contribution under Paris Agreement, NDC ambition. NDC was updated in October 2021, and also I will clarify the mitigation potential in Tunisia. As you may know, the NDC objectives are expressed in carbon intensity term from Tunisia. This is the various curves that have been developed in the NDC submission. As you may know, this is the business as usual scenario, considering doing nothing as compared to the current situation. We have also developed NDC unconditional effort curve and the what is called NDC conditional objective. So the objective of the Tunisian NDC is to provide for reducing carbon intensity by 24% as compared to 2010 level. And this 45% would involve conditional and unconditional. Unconditional is defined as national objective that will be achieved through national efforts. So if we convert the objective based on GDP assumption up to year 2030 and converted into ton of CO2 equivalent, we would have an objective of reducing emission by 87 million tons of CO2 equivalent over the whole period 2021-2030. So as I already mentioned, unconditional emission reduction target is a part of the Tunisian domestic policy, so it is not to be integrated into the Article 6. What is considered as a potential Article 6 would be the conditional objective, which would represent somehow 55% of the whole amount of emission reduction as converted into ton of CO2 equivalent. So 55% would represent almost 48 million tons of CO2 equivalent over the period from now to 2030. As you also may know, NDC update mentions that Tunisia is willing to rely on cooperative approaches for all sources of eligible for Article 6 mechanism, which includes renewable energy, energy efficiency, industrial processes, solid waste, and waste management, and also measure potentially targeting agriculture, forest, and land uses. So all the full picture of emission are to be covered by Article 6, especially the conditional part of the NDC objectives. There are no figure mentioned in the NDC of the part of the conditional objective that could or is likely to be part of or developed as a part of Article 6. But the hope of Tunisia is to maximize this amount based on the fact that the financial mechanism or carbon-related financial mechanism are not really in place. So Article 6 market would help compensating the scarcity of financing for the moment. So this is a curve clarifying the future expectation of emission reduction, of conditional emission reduction, that part of it would potentially be met through Article 6 projects. So we see that it is an increasing rhythm from now to 2030 with so the sum would be around 84 million tons of CO2 equivalent as conditional emission reductions. Tunisia has been able to develop a vision towards accessing to Article 6. This is what I'm going to clarify or to explain. A vision that Article 6 was prepared and adopted by April 2023 this year, and it is structured around 7 points. First of all, the first point is Tunisia is willing to promote the use of Article 6 by creating project identification and development capacities. Then secondly, adjust the scope and operating method of the Energy Transition Fund. We have actually an operating, what is called Fond de Transition Énergétique, Energy Transition Fund. And Tunisia is willing to adjust the scopes in order to integrate support for Article 6 project for the energy and industrial process sector, and then enable National Energy Conservation Agency, ANME, to play an effective role in developing and implementing Article 6 project and supporting stakeholders to develop Article 6 project. Last point is to create an equivalent of a transition fund, which could be called the carbon transition fund, to the other sector, particularly industrial processes, AFOLU, and waste sector, as to play an equivalent role to Fond de Transition Énergétique. Second point, part of the vision is to implement transparent regulation for emission reduction ownership, which is a very important parameter for stakeholders in Tunisia, but also outside Tunisia. So the general principle that had been suggested is to acknowledge ownership to project proponent, ownership of emission reduction to project proponent. Then also the second point, due to adjustment implication, as you know, the DNA, the Tunisian DNA, will transparently announce the cases of eventual or partial withholding of emission reduction. So the third point would cover the transparent indication of sources and activity which emission reduction might be marketed through Article 6. The list of project activity that are allowed to apply for authorization or approval of transfer under Article 6 will be communicated transparently. Also, programs that are known to be part of unconditional measures are excluded, of course, as they cannot be subject to any adjustment, and then they will be integrated into the national objectives. Also, projects with too favorable profitability or low investment constraint will certainly have little chance of passing the additionality hurdle, hence are unlikely to get authorized approved. Last point, unless the funder would agree, a project that receives substantial funding under the convention's mechanism, like a global environment facility or green climate fund, or that access to advantage funding lines are unlikely to get authorized, as the funders will, if they don't agree, then they will be excluded from the to get authorization or approval. Fourth, withholding mechanism will also be announced transparently. Withholding level for emission reduction by project type or by sector, energy efficiency, renewable, cogeneration processes, were suggested and duly justified in last April. Final figure will be adopted and communicated as soon as DNA is established. In general, the withholding level are relatively limited because Tunisia is willing to encourage project proponents to recourse to Article 6. So I will also explain where this withholding amount of emission reduction will be utilized. application entering the Article 6 project cycle, which I will show in a few slides, will pay an initial fixed administrative fee to guarantee serious applications, and also they will pay a limited amount of annual fees. Fifth point of the vision, the withholdings are used in four ways. First, they may be frozen as a provision to guard against the risk of not achieving unconditional targets. Tunisia is really willing very much to achieve its own national targets, as mentioned in the NDC, and this amount of withholdings will guarantee that against any risk of not achieving the unconditional target. Also, if they are going to be used, they would be used to enhance national objectives. Also, the revenue to be recycled in supporting additional activities. So, any amount of emission reductions that are sold abroad as a part of withholdings mechanism, the revenue of this withholding will be recycled to support additional mitigation activity of Tunisia. Also, they would be partly used to support capacity development, adaptation, resilience activities, and also to support vulnerable groups, as well as addressing inequality cases. So all of which are part of the climate change impacts and preoccupation of Tunisia. Point 6, fiscal treatment of EATMOS revenue. There are some recommendations that have been made in last April. Like all programs contributing to energy efficiency and supporting environment preservation, it was recommended that Article 6 transactions be exempted from VAT, especially also because the emission reduction are going to be exported. So it is quite normal that there is no VAT in exporting activities. And also to promote Article 6 project activities, it was recommended to grant a total exemption from income taxes for the first year and activity of any project, and the maximum tax of 10% for subsequent year. This was one of the recommendations made in last April. Last point, promotes the emergence of voluntary market in Tunisia. This doesn't have any link with Article 6, but with only to cover much more in emission enterprises. And Tunisia will promote national compensation market with involvement of involvement in the international voluntary markets, hopefully, since this will not involve any adjustment. So next point regards governance of Article 6. Tunisia is willing to create a DNA for Article 6. The DNA will involve 15 to 20 main stakeholders, including civil society. It will be somehow similar to the one established during the CDM period, and its role would be to conduct the preliminary assessment of mitigation activity that apply for approval or authorization. Also, DNA will eventually require additional information from the project proponents. It will issue a favorable or unfavorable decision after 2 review rounds as a part of preliminary phase and final decision, and also analyze the eventual appeals and issue an opinion regarding projects that are applied. The unité de gestion par objectif that is represented by Mr. Zmeli, present here, is a part of the, let's say, DNA Secretariat. It will operationalize the procedures of Article 6. It will also prepare and organize the work plan for the DNA. It will transmit the Commission opinions to the public authority responsible for formally taking decision on the project that have been applied. Also, it will manage the Article 6 single windows that is being implemented. on the Ministry of the Environment website. It will also verify the admissibility of application, publish the decision formally taken on the website of the Ministry of Environment. It will also monitor the processes initiated by the project, for example, stakeholder consultation, and it will promote Article 6 through communication, capacitation, etc. So it will have a program to promote Article 6 in Tunisia. The Ministry of Environment, as a major stakeholder in the system, will formally take the authorization and approval decision. So the Minister of Environment, who is the focal point of climate change and Paris Agreement implication, following the opinion made by TNA, it will be responsible to sending official letters to project proponent, petitioner. It will establish convention with countries under 6.2, as it has been done with JCM, for example. It will set up and manage a registry, and also it will interact with convention counterpart on all issues related to Article 6.4 and 6.2. Last but not the least, there will also the strong involvement of other sectoral stakeholders, ministries, agencies, employers using civil society. These will be involved in promoting Article 6 in their respective sector. They will also prepare financial intermediaries like Fonds de Transition Énergétique or Fonds Tunisien d'Investissement. They will promote legislating on the tax rule for addressing the emission reduction revenue, and also they will be fully involved in identifying and developing project portfolio. Next point relates to procedure scheme. Very rapidly, this is the procedures that have been suggested in last April. So we have two channels related to Article 6.4 and a channel related to Article 6.2. The preliminary phase 1 duration is almost 3 months, and then the second period will also last for 1 month for Article 6.4 and 3 months for Article 6.2. The total duration of the whole process is around 6 months, including all the phases of developing project proposals or preliminary information note, and the what's to call it the ADD, which is activity design document, the equivalent of PDD in CDM terms. So also there are a list of criteria that have been developed to help DNA responding to projects that are being applied. There have been 15 project eligibility criteria that so just I wanted to also recall that there are three types of criteria for the evaluations: project eligibility criteria, sustainable development criteria, and eligibility criteria for project proponents. So regarding the project eligibility criteria, they are used to assess the merit of a project to obtain authorization for the transfer and use of ITMOS under Article 6.2. It will also be up to the project proponent to draw up the arguments that will support its eligibility, first in a first preliminary document called ARN, then to complete it in a dedicated more detailed project description under what is called ADD, based on grid of 15 criteria. So this is an example of criteria. Sorry, they are written in French, For example, contribution to implement CDN, additionality, conservative reference scenario, etc. So these are examples of project eligibility criteria. Also, we have 17 sustainable development criteria under 4 families of criteria: environmental criteria, social criteria, economic criteria, and strategic criteria. And there is recommendation on weighing of all these criteria. We have also an example of, for example, criteria for environmental criteria, which will weigh 35% of the whole calculation of the notation. So it includes emission reductions, contribution to using natural resources sustainably, contribution to reducing atmospheric pollution, etc. So these are examples of environmental criteria that will be applied when screening the project application. The last point relates to the eligibility criteria for project proponents. These are used to assess the eligibility of a public-private project proponent that should be a natural or legal person governed by public or private law, including a state body or service, or acting on behalf of it in the context of public service mission. It should have also a legal, technical, and financial capacity to carry out the planned activity, and this will guarantee the success of project, both for the project proponent, but also for the potentially buyer of 6.2 Article 6 projects. It also provides a guarantee to finance the restoration of the sites at the end of the life of the activity of the project. There is also a sworn statement that the project proponent is not bankrupt or subject to any insolvency or compulsory liquidation, that it has not been found guilty of fraud, corruption, linked to a criminal organization, etc., and also that is in compliance with his taxes and social security and obligation. So this is the set of 3 kinds of eligibility criteria with their details that will most probably will be applied during the Article 6 and Article 6.2 and 6.4 processes. So I'm just presenting a very short roadmap for Article 6 in implementation. As you may know, there is many consultation between stakeholders to establish the institutional and organizational framework. Second stage has also started with consultation on tax withholding arrangement, as I explained earlier. A third point in the agenda is developing the portfolio of eligible projects. Fourth point, developing monitoring system, which is a very important condition to implement Article 6 project. And last but not the least, stakeholder engagement and capacity building to allow the emergence of this new Article 6 market. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that the presentation was very useful for you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amus, for that very comprehensive presentation. I think this was a very rare opportunity for our audience to actually hear about the sort of the inner workings in Tunisia in implementing Article 6. I was certainly fascinated that you have, seems to me that you have all the infrastructure from DNA to the approval process, to the tax arrangements, to the other criteria. Sounds like Tunisia is ready to go in terms of Article 6 and the JCM implementation. So thank you very much for that, the valuable information. We very much appreciate that you shared that, all that information. So I'd like to invite the next guest speaker, Mr. Hiroshi Takahashi. He's a Senior Managing Director for Financing Program Group at Global Environment Center Foundation, GC. And he will elaborate further on JCM with his presentation titled Financing Program for JCM Model Projects and Global Match. So with that, go ahead, Takahashi-san, you have the floor.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Hiroshi Takahashi of the Global Environment Center Foundation, or GEC. I'd like to express my deep gratitude for this opportunity. So let me share my slide. So GEC is an implementing organization of the financing program for JCM model project. I'm willing to talk about the outline and features of this program and introduce business matching making site of JCM Global Match. Okay, this is the agenda of my presentation today. JCM model project started in 2013. Ethiopia and Kenya signed bilateral cooperation for the local carbon partnership between Japan and joined the JCM in 2013. Since then, we could have been developing the model project in those countries. Last year, after Senegal, Tunisia joined JCM. I'm sure that we will develop JCM project in Tunisia from now on. This figure shows the scheme of the JCM model project. As an implementing organization, GEC undertakes the administrative work for the JCM model project. Selected project will be able to receive financial support on the facilities or equipment with advanced decarbonizing technology or the reduction of greenhouse gas emission. The subsidy or advanced technology, but not yet popular in the country. The left part of this figure shows a conventional system or project, usually focusing on minimizing initial cost and does not care much for greenhouse gas emission reduction. On the other hand, on the right part, JCM model project focusing on introducing the system that contributes to reducing greenhouse gas emission. It finances initial cost of equipment to be competitive with referenced conventional system. So using this scheme, they can introduce system both cost advantageous and eco-friendly. The emission reduction achieved will be monitored, reported, and validated, and credit is issued, which will be shared between partner country and Japan. This is a timeline of the model project for this fiscal year, started in April. We assess proposed project and selected project will go through the administrative process for finalizing contract of finance, then start their project as JCM model project toward installation and start operation for contributing to the reduction of greenhouse gas. This shows the development step of JCM model project. In an initial process of developing a project, first thing you do is to find a Japanese partner to cooperate with. JCM Global Match, I'll show you later, will be helpful for the matchmaking. Proposed project will be submitted by Japanese participant. GEC assess and evaluate each proposal and select candidate project with Ministry of Environment, Japan. Then project idea note, a pin, which he described about the project. It be sent partner countries for confirmation of no objection as JCM project. Then they proceed to contract of finance and are able to start their project. This is an outline of JCM model project for this fiscal year. Budget is 15 billion yen, or about $100 million for 3 years. The maximum amount of financial support per project is 2 billion Japanese yen, or about $1.3 million. I will touch upon international consortium by the next slide. Scope of finance is facilities or equipment which reduce carbon dioxide from fossil fuel combustion and related construction cost. The selected project start from the date of the notice of contract of finance support, and they need to finish installation within 3 years. About maximum percentage of support and cost effectiveness, I will refer a bit later. This figure shows a typical form of international consortium. A representative participant in the Japanese entity is a Japanese entity, and at least one partner participant will be a partner country's entity, which own and use equipment. Representative participant from Japan side is responsible for the project totally, and partner participant introduces the system, and the system need to be properly operated and maintained for greenhouse gas emission reduction throughout the period of credit issue. Then, what kind of projects are supported by the JCM financing program? Some key points are as follows. You are able to see. Project must reduce energy-related carbon dioxide emissions, which is generated by burning fossil fuels. Project contribute to realization of SDGs in partner country and comply with the relevant laws and regulations, and international practice should be obeyed. Achieved reduction of greenhouse gas emission must be measured and quantitatively calculated and verified for issuing JCM credit. They are described in guidelines for submitting proposals, and please refer to it in detail. About energy-related carbon dioxide emissions. Projects need to reduce emission of greenhouse gas, including energy-related carbon dioxide emissions. For instance, a project that reduces only methane, CF6, PFC, HFC, or N2O is not adequate as a model project. This figure shows that methane is burned and disappear. However, at this point, it is not good enough to be a model project. A boiler makes steam by heat generated by burning methane. Then this steam will be used to rotate the turbine to generate electricity, and if it replaces grid power, then it could reduce the electricity source from burning fossil fuel, the source of carbon dioxide. This is the requirement that makes a model project. The model project should contribute to the sustainable development of the for the partner country. We review projects as they contribute to sustainable development goals, and JCM model project reduces greenhouse gas emission. So basically work and good for SDGs and contribute to the sustainable society. This is an example as possible contribution of renewable energy project to SDGs for your references. This is a table of applied technology for each partner country. Based on the number of projects on this table, maximum financial support is limited. If project technology, proposed technology is the first one, the maximum financial support is 50% of total cost of a project. And so it is shown by the blank cell in this chart. The rate goes down to 40% and 30% maximum by the number of the already applied technologies for each country. This is because the first one has a great impact in terms of diffusion of technology as it is newly introduced. Then the second and the third and so forth. This is a criterion of cost effectiveness, that is financial support versus amount of greenhouse gas emission reduction. We set this value less than 4,000 yen, about $27 at the latest exchange rate. This acts as a ceiling of the budget for some project. Recently, there is a lot of proposals for certain technologies in some countries. If the number of projects applied technology reaches 5 in the country, this value decreases to about 3,000 yen. And if the number exceeds 10, it diminishes to about 2,500 yen. And also, if the number reaches 20, it will be 2,000 yen. So we set this value for a solar power and hydropower project to 2,500 yen and 500 yen respectively regarding sustainable value based on the type of technologies. The budget is limited, so we need to dispatch efficiently to diffuse as many excellent projects as possible. We improve the scheme of JCM model project every year to accept variety of projects in many fields and business area. JCM Eco scheme is one of this approach introduced in 2020, which is dedicated for leasing businesses to use this financial support conveniently. Under the uniform finance support of 10% of the project cost, which is lower than the general project, the merit of this scheme is shorter obligation period of monitoring and simple documentation to apply easily. Again, we improve the scheme to create more opportunities for many business partners to join. The main purpose of JCM is to issue JCM credit. For the credit, first thing they do after implementing the equipment is this action of MRV, or measurement, reporting, and verification. So this shows the procedures they should follow for issuing the JCM credit. EGEC also supports this MRV process for participants. This shows the MRV process for the JCM credit. MRV proceed after installation and commissioning of the system. Main actors are project participants, joint committee between two countries, the third-party entities, and CCAS is the methodology development, then JCM project legislation and credit issue. About the allocation of the JCM credit will be decided by joint committee of Japan and Tunisia, and they issue the JCM credit by each country's government. So then move to the next topic of project trend. Project map of JCM financing program shows us a total of 235 projects are selected as of now all over the world. JCM model project count the most and are categorized by application technology with the colored circle. This is a result of the first and second selection for this season. Selection is ongoing, so please wait for the next selection result for more projects to come. This chart shows the accumulated number of projects by sector of energy saving, blue one, renewable energy, orange one, and others for all of the model project. By pie chart on top, you can see that the energy saving and renewable energy sector dominate. As a recent trend, number of renewable energy projects has been increasing rapidly, and it had up to reach 130. This is renewable energy sector. Photovoltaic system count the most, about 78%, which constantly proposed from the beginning of the model project. The second count is many hydropower system, then biopower generation system. In this sector, there are wind power system and geothermal power generation system. Renewable energy projects tend to contribute for mass reduction of carbon dioxide, and we anticipate to have more proposals and welcome to add variation in this field. This chart shows a selected energy saving project. There is a lot kind of technologies selected for the model project. Most utility equipment are covered by the proposed technology. They are boiler, chiller, transformer, pump, and compressor, inverter, heat exchanger, and so on. Also, it has air conditioning system, LED illumination system for building. As for production line in factories or plant, we have many projects such as injection molding machines and autoclave and grooming machine and so on. So the important point of this category is that they are effective in the industry field and useful for factories. This product save energy effectively by minimizing the usage of power or heat and reduce energy cost. That is important and nice for management of factories or plant. So from here, I'll show you some characteristic model project. This project installs 35 megawatt solar power system and 36 megawatt hour energy storage system. Solar power is not stable and it fluctuates by sunlight. So providing stable power to grid is important. Employing battery or accumulator in the system could be a good solution for this to labeling power to provide. This project reduces energy consumption and emission of carbon dioxide by installing high efficiency one-through boiler in a factory. One-through boiler could save energy greatly for its energy efficiency of almost 100%. And operating system for boilers could control appropriate number of machines due to varying demand. This type of boiler is now popular in Japan. We hope this kind of project contribute to the diffusion of the technology in factories also in Tunisia. Then this is the 1.5 megawatt class waste heat recovery power generation system, employs organic Rankine cycle technology that is suitable for relatively low heat source. It is introduced to the flat glass manufacturing factory for self-consumption purpose. The system reduces greenhouse gas and emissions by substituting part of grid power consumption. This is combustion system of combination system of rooftop solar power system and gas cogeneration system for tire factory in Thailand. Generated power and steam are consumed in the factory. These high-efficient systems and renewable energy sources realize energy saving and stable energy supply. Cogeneration system is effective, especially for a factory consuming good amount of heat. This is 28 megawatt binary generation power plant project in the Philippines. There is good potential to introduce geothermal power plant for volcanic countries. This project installs 16 megawatt mini hydropower plant system in Vietnam. This type of project are applicable also in some area to make use of river water. This project is a 20 megawatt biomass power plant in Vietnam to generate power by burning rice husks. There are still many cases of just leaving husks from grain facilities that could be a cause of greenhouse gas emission. So generating power using them is effective for the reduction of greenhouse gas, and I think it could be a good project also in Tunisia. From here, let me introduce briefly about the JCM global match. I'll show you what you can do at our business matching site, which is free to use. So companies in partner country don't always have good connection to the business cooperating with Japanese company. So it is quite useful, the system to help companies to find a partner, Japanese partners, which can provide leading edge or superior decarbonized technology. And also, when you apply the JCM model project, it is mandatory to form the international consortium to have your partner company in Japan. So this site will be a good help for you to form a JCM model project. So we have many registered users of about 1,000 who engaged in decarbonizing business from more than 58 countries. The first thing to use JCM model project global match is to create your account by registration. After that, you can do 3 things at the site. These are to find your partner, advertise yourself, and discuss about your business. The first thing, you can find potential business partner in this page. One way to find your partner is to use a research function. At the top of the page, you always see a word search window to put in any word you may be interested in, like biomass, hydrogen energy, or Tunisia, and so on. Another way to obtain company list. Another way is to obtain company list from 4 pictures banners. Represent the company in categories of Japanese enterprises, partner country enterprises, consulting and public sectors, or financiers. When you find company you are interested in, press the match request button to send a message. If approved by a person or a company, you will be able to contact them directly on this platform. So this is the second advantage of JCM Global Match. You can advertise your company at this site. Registered account information about your company, products, and service can be seen on or read by many of your potential partners. And the information could be a good advertisement to promote your business. The third thing you can do is to discuss. You can discuss your business plan and a variety of topics with other users at this platform. We provide in the open discussion chat room by this site. So access information. To access a JCM Global Match, just search or use this URL, and QR code is available, so you can access and scan it with your smartphone. We are waiting for your registration. So we support entities interested in JCM model project to apply for the JCM model project. Consultation form is provided by GC for consultation in order to assist building up good project. Then a conclusion of my presentation. This list shows representative participants for JCM model project. There are many Japanese companies taking part in this scheme and cooperate to proceed reduction of greenhouse gas emission in partner countries. Their business vary in many fields. You are able to show by this list. And in this list, there are many companies. Some of them you may have heard or of their name. It is important to have a lot of participants or contribute continuous expansion of the JCM model project. So we make effort to add more companies to join and create more projects. So in many areas, the technology of model project has been applied. In many areas, in industry and industry field and system infrastructure field. So as you can see, this project, JCM model project is effective for promotion of infrastructure. So you have good opportunity to make use of this model project for Tunisia. So we are waiting for many applications. I'm happy if my presentation helps you better understanding of the JCM model project. Thanks for your attention. Merci beaucoup. Shukran. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Thank you very much, Takahashi-san, for that presentation. And we have a last speaker for this session. let's invite Mr. Kazumasa Nagamori. He's a project manager for Climate Technology and Innovation Division, Department of Energy at United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO. And he'll provide us a presentation entitled JCM Support Program by UNIDO. So good morning to you, Nagamori-san. You have the floor.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm honored to have a great opportunity to explain JCM operated by UNIDO. I skipped the explanation of the JCM outline since previous speaker already did it. And I like to explain that UNIDO JCM, that is another JCM scheme, a kind of the option, having some flexibility that benefit private company to implement the JCM project. This is a map showing the existing project. So far, there are ongoing the JCM project beyond the 200 in total. And on the other hand, the blue circle stands for the UNIDO JCM. Just only one project, but UNIDO just started the JCM last year and kind of the agency to handle JCM project. And we adapt first JCM project in Kenya. So UNIDO focusing on only African JCM partner country, Tunisia, Senegal, Kenya, and Ethiopia. And yeah, UNIDO JCM is implemented only for African countries. This is a first project, UNIDO JCM project. And so by providing a grant to this project, clean energy is provided, and also that generated energy is used for watering plants. This activity contributes to the development of clean technology energy, and also the local industry. UNIDO would like to adopt such a project, contributing the local industry as well as the GHG emission reduction, because basically the UNIDO is a specialized agency of the UN to promote industrialized development. Compared to the JCM handled by the GEC, so UNIDO has some flexibility. For example, UNIDO can cover the project cost up to 75%. It's much larger than the other JCM subsidies. And with regard to the monitoring period, private companies need to report the amount of the CO2 emission, GHG emission to UNIDO for at least 5 years. That is quite short term comparing to the other JCM scheme. So the UNIDO JCM is quite helpful and beneficial for private company to start the energy project in African countries, in particular Tunisia. And this is another project, and UNIDO receives additional JCM funding from MOEJ, and it focuses on the waste management project through FCOCA method. FCOCA method is to reduce the methane gas through aeration by construction piping. The FCOCA method also realizes a safe operation in a landfill site. And yeah, thanks to cooperation, Tunisia government, it's going well at the moment. So to formulate this project, we started a feasibility study in Tunisia first. Last month, we visited the some landfill in Tunisia with experts and analyzed some possibly landfill site for identify the project dumping site. And so all of the cities in Tunisia have joined the ACCP, African Clean Cities Platform, launched by government of Japan. And the government of Tunisia are really positive and interested in this program. So that's why we start this project in Tunisia. And also, UNIDO Tunisia field office has a good relationship with Tunisia MOE and ANJET, and so, we are going to move the project forward as a JCM project, working with Tunisia government closely. Arctopia, and if you interested in the UNIDO JCM, or if you have already a possible JCM project, please contact me through email to this address. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nagamori-san, for that very concise presentation. Indeed, as Nagamori-san mentioned, I think UNIDO JCM is a great way for private companies to utilize JCM program if their project does not quite meet the criteria for the conventional JCM, which was introduced by Takahashi-san from GC. So I would encourage everyone to look further into this program and then ask questions to Nagamori-san if there is any interest in utilizing that program. So thank you very much for joining our webinar, Nagamori-san. And then with that, we're going to move on to the Q&A session. For the interest of time, I think we'll limit to just one question, although there were many questions sent from the audience. Great job. Thank you very much. Keep them coming. We would like to take up as many questions as possible, but like I said, for the interest of time, we'll just take up one question from the audience, which is for Takahashi-san from GC. There was a few questions about who can apply for the conventional JCM program. There was a question about whether a bank or their client can apply. I think there's an interest in learning who can apply to JCM, who implements a project, what kind of formation they need to sort of form in order to apply for the regular conventional JCM. So maybe if you could address that question.
Okay, thank you for the question. The participant or the entity or the company who are able to reduce the carbon dioxide from the other scheme or technology can form an international consortium, which consists Japanese representative participant and also partner countries participant. So this is a slide I introduced already. You're able to see. Okay. This is the formation of international consortium, and representative participant is a Japanese entity and has full responsibility for this model project. And also this shows the partner countries participant. The equipment introduced should be owned and operated by this partner participant. And the important point is to how they are able to introduce a system that reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. So if this consortium has a good potential to introduce a technology that contribute to the reduction of the emission of carbon dioxide in partner country, it's good. And the entity which has such technology and the ability to do business in the partner country, they are able to apply for this model project. But the application should be by this Japanese country's entity. And we assess the project based on the criteria we open for everyone.
Thank you very much, Takahashi-san. I think also the sort of the picture you shared was helpful for the audience. So I think we'll end the Q&A session for this part now. And let's move on to the next session. But before that, I just want to say we're also accepting more questions for the next part as well. So please don't hesitate to send us as many questions as you can. And there was also some questions about whether they can have a sort of a consultation meeting with us. Yes, we're open anytime to have an online meeting with anyone interested in applying for JCM. Our email address can be found on our website. Sorry, there was some question, maybe additional questions that we want to take up. Perhaps, sorry, there was some messaging coming in. Let me see. Sorry about that. That's the part of live streaming. Perhaps we can bring back Mr. Samir Amus, since we had a pleasure of having him join us on the webinar. Perhaps we can bring you back, and then maybe we can just ask sort of perhaps a little bit broad, but a question. Since Tunisia, from your presentation, it seems that Tunisia is very much ready to start sort of using Article 6 mechanism in a JCM. Do you have any sort of expectations for JCM, or perhaps any sort of sectors, technologies that Tunisia is particularly interested in sort of introducing through the mechanism of JCM? So if you could sort of share your thoughts on that, we'll appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for returning back to me. I think in general, there are needs to develop many initiatives in energy conservation and in renewable energy. For instance, we have a very ambitious renewable energy development program with some hurdles, with some national hurdles, and it will help a lot. The competitiveness and the cost effectiveness of developing renewable in Tunisia for service sector, for industry, and even for households, to know that there is a possibility to integrate project as a part of Article 6.2 with GSM. And more generally, I would say the project portfolio are almost there in Tunisia. We know where we would like to go. And the GCM will certainly create a real and effective dynamic towards mobilizing Article 6. And you see the questions that have been raised in the Q&A. And I'm sure that this consultation and this webinar will create something to enhance and create a cooperation, technological and investment opportunities channels between Tunisian and Japanese, and it will create stronger links between Tunisia and Japanese stakeholders, especially between the private sector. You saw that many intervention and questions came out from the private sector and the financial sector more particularly. So at a glance, GSM will certainly help the emergence of new investment opportunities, most probably starting from the development of and support renewable energy initiatives and projects which are on the way to really emerge in the Tunisian environment.
Thank you very much. That was also very fascinating. Yes, I think it was very fascinating that you also mentioned again. I think that you have pipeline already there, that you have potential projects, and I think the only thing we need now is sort of connecting the dot between your pipeline and the sort of the Japanese and Tunisian private sector who are interested in taking up that sort of business opportunity that's already there. And as you mentioned, the cost effectiveness could be very much improved with the JCM scheme. So I think sort of the soil or the climate is there for the projects to spring up. So thank you very much. I think there could be something done about sort of the connecting the dot part, introducing what kind of projects are in a pipeline to the private sector companies interested in using JCM. So thank you for sharing that information. Thank you. And perhaps we can take up another question or bring back GC Takahashi-san back to the screen. And then this is a sort of a question that we get from the companies that come to us for consultation. So perhaps he can share his thoughts on what points or what part. Sorry, can you mute the microphone?
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Sorry, it was hard to speak. I'm sorry. So what kind of points or do you pay attention when you're reviewing JCM applications? Any particular things that you pay attention when you see and select and evaluate applications? So go ahead.
Okay, thank you for asking about reviewing the application. So we open evaluation criteria for selecting JCM model project, and we review based on this for application to select, and we tend to be fair by this criteria. So one main purpose of this scheme is to issue credit, and that period is more than 10 years or a long period of time. So we expect the project surely be implemented and operated during this period. So how the proposed project will be conducted certainly and concretely is important. We assess based on the criteria and the point of technical aspect, plan of schedule, finance plan, structure of international consortium, and so on. And project contribute to realization of SDGs in partner countries and comply with relevant laws and regulations. Those are the important points we review. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Takahashi-san, for that insight. And I think with that, we can end this Q&A session now. Again, please keep your questions coming. We're open to answer any questions. So with that, we're going to move on to the next part of the webinar, JCM implementation in partner countries. Here, we'll have two speakers to share real-life examples of JCM projects. And our first guest speaker is Mr. Hiroki Ishida. He's a director of African division from AIC Japan. And he has a presentation entitled Project Outline for Rooftop Solar Power Systems in Kenya. So with that, Ishida-san, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, based on your locations. My name is Hiroki Ishida, the director of AIC. Today, I'm going to take the example of the project in Kenya. Already, Mr. Takahashi from GC explained the process procedures of the JCM project. So maybe what I can provide is how it does look like, also what kind of company applied, and what kind of challenge, also timeline you can expect. To begin, briefly allow me to explain who AIC is. We are investment and consulting firm, has various offices in this continent, Africa. I've been based in Nairobi, Kenya since 2015, and also in charge of the East and North African countries. As AIC, we do several businesses like consulting services, also fund management, but today I'd like to focus more on the JCM project. Last year in 2022, there are 40 projects selected by JCM globally. And out of those, 4 projects were in Africa, and 3 of them were represented by AIC us. And but though the number of projects in Africa is limited, but it doesn't imply that the appetite of JCM is low in Africa. Just the matter of number by the countries who has a partnership agreement with the Japanese government. And now Tunisia has a partnership. And also I expect maybe more projects will be selected from this continent. And today I'm gonna explain the project number 1 and the number 2. The first one is UNGA Group, which one of the largest and maybe oldest millers in East Africa. And everybody knows in Kenya because they manufacture the maize flour, also wheat flour, which is essential food for Kenyans. And by the way, which is a listed company, but it's not requirement of the JCM project, as long as you have the financial statement at least for the last 3 years. And maybe what I can mention here is that it's also important to mention about their impact to use a JCM. In this case, UNGA provides, again, the essential food for their Kenyan citizens. So if they can reduce the cost of the production, which means it can be benefit for their consumers in the long term. Also, that could be one of the questions of the application. Yeah, this is a very conceptual diagram of the project, which is 3.1 megawatt rooftop solar power system, which composed of like solar modules, inverters, monitoring platform, and more. And by the way, this project consumes the whole solar energy, but still requires a grid energy. So I included the grid here. And one of the unique aspect of JCM is that they can cover both the equipment, installation, also plus labor cost. In this case, also we applied for like the cost of solar modules, inverters, and JCM covers the range of 30 to 50% of the cost. But again, cost effectiveness is quite important. As Mr. Takashi mentioned, 4,000 yen is roughly $26 per ton. We have to also meet that requirement. And they had 7 sites, like milk plants, feed plants, soya plants in this country, Kenya. But also it's possible to consolidate the several sites into one application. So in case you have several like plants, factory, and you want to apply, you don't need to prepare each application. You can like consolidate those projects. And of course, one project is more than enough in case you don't have any other like sites. And this is a photo of the before and after. And you can see after several like, solar panel modules. And actually that project is still underway. So I can provide more photos for the next project. Then UNGA, they had a like sustainability agenda, and one which was climate action. And they had a plan to invest in like renewable energy, but they faces a challenge that maybe the investment, return on investment, also payback period was quite longer compared to their like standard. But they, thanks to the JCM projects, they were able to shorten their payback period. Also was able to like kind of upgrade the equipment they wanted to buy, and then it does make sense for them to in a long-term period. And next project is has 2 companies, and Kenchik and ABM, and also AIC is one of them, so kind of like consortium. And Kenchik also a leading poultry producer in East and Central Africa. they provide like chicken meat for retailers, supermarket, such as KFC. Also, the impact is huge into the society if they are able to reduce the cost. And again, before and after, on the right side, you can find like over 800 pieces of modules also for inverters. And it took about like 4 or 5 months from February to June this year after it was selected by JCM. And also, once you are selected, you are responsible to report the progress to the GC. So I several times visited the site and took some pictures on top of the roof. And then if you can take a good picture, that's okay. But in this case, also we use a drone to take a nice photo from the top of the factory. And also another company is ABM. Also, they are different company, but they have some common like shareholders. That's why they decide to apply together. The only battery manufacturing company in Kenya since 1963. Also, again, the before and after photos, it was 0.8 megawatt, and they have more modules, over 1,000 pieces. And in this case, ABM is a local partner, and then AIC is a representative. But also we had an EPC company, which is not in this slide. But so you can like, compose a like, consortium using the different pieces. And as Mr. Takahashi from GC mentioned that maybe you can find partner using like global match or using your network. And lastly, I just share my insight regarding like application process, how long did it take or what was challenge. So first, you have to find the right partner and maybe to the companies in Tunisia. I would like to say you have to find a Japanese partner, which is mandate for this project. And if you already have a like relationship with a Japanese company, such as trading company, energy company, consulting firm, you can start consulting with them. Or AIC also, we are open to have any conversations. Actually, one of the owner of the energy project in Tunisia already contacted us even before this conference and started a conversation how we can prepare for the application next year, which is gonna start in April 2024. Then once you have a kind of consortium, you can start project review. And does it meet the requirement of the project? Also, how big it should be? Also, does it make sense for you to apply? It also takes effort and also time to apply. And also you have to identify how much grant you can expect. Then application process. There are some like documentation information which is required, and it's gonna take about maybe two months plus, and including the finding partner. I think it's like journey over like 5 or 6 months. Actually, for like Ungar, Kenchik, I explained. I started the conversation even like February or January last year, and then it took 5 or 6 months to apply. Then once you are successfully selected, awarded by the JCM, you start like doing like monthly reporting. Also, upon the completion, you have to provide a final report. Then after that, there's a period of like annual reporting, monitoring period. It's various, but from 7 to maybe maximum 17 years. It depends on it's aligned with the depreciation period of the factory or site. And if it's PPA, like power purchase agreement, it can be longer, like 70 years. But if it's EPC, like for our case, it was like between 7 to 10 years. And this is my last slide about the required documents and information. And so there are several categories: project details, cost, consortium, company. which includes like accounting, financial statements, and also some analysis. And I highlighted two. Number one, the project idea note, which provides a great summary of the project. And then also another important item is GHG, greenhouse gas calculation sheet, which GShip already has uploaded on the website. And you can do calculation about the GHG emission, which affect to the cost effectiveness. And then if you change this number, also it affects to so many information, also application sheet. So also I recommend you to work on maybe these two first with your partner, and then decide if you should go proceed, and then you can prepare the details like maps, licensing, those kind of things. And that's it. And thank you very much for your attention. Though I'm located based in Kenya, but my colleague Keiko, she is located in Tunisia. So please feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shida. I think your very practical advice for the audience was very helpful for everyone. So thank you very much for that presentation. And I'd like to invite next speaker, Mr. Kenta Fuji, excuse me. He's a manager for International Sales Group, Corporate Sales Department from the Kansai Electric Power. His presentation is entitled Introduction of Gas Cogeneration System and Absorption Chiller to Fiber Factory in Thailand. So with that, please go ahead, you have the floor.
Thank you, Kaoru. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting us and giving a precious opportunity for delivering our presentations. And let me introduce myself. I am Fuji from Kansai Electric Power, and I am in charge of business development for on-site business abroad, and especially Southeast Asia. And unfortunately, so our company does not develop the project in Africa region currently. But it is really appreciated that my presentation contributes to participants' better understanding for JCM model projects. Okay, let me start. Today, I want to explain about the example of the JCM financing program in Thailand. In this project, we Kansai Electric Group implemented gas cogeneration system, including natural gas-fired engine, generator, exhaust gas boiler, and absorption chiller. Okay. And firstly, so I'd like to introduce my company. Yeah, our company name is the Kansai Electric Power Company Incorporated, shortly KEPCO. And our company is located on the Osaka area in Japan. And we have a long history, and the establishment date is almost 72 years ago. And KEPCO is a traditional electric power company. It means KEPCO has a variety of big power plants, including the thermal power plants, hydro power plants, nuclear power plants, and also renewable energy power plants. Aside from that, recently KEPCO focuses on on-site business, such as cogeneration, rooftop solar, chiller, boiler, battery, and something else. KEPCO's principle is like this. So serving and shaping the vital platform for sustainable society. So today's project is also the one which follows KEPCO's policy. Let me explain the detail later. And the next page, I would like to explain about our activities in Thailand. The Kansai Energy Solution Thailand, which is the 100% owned subsidiary of KEPCO in Thailand. And this company provides the majorly two businesses in this country. The first one is the energy saving consulting service. So for the energy consulting service, we usually conduct a site survey for the energy audit and find out the problems of the energy saving, and we report it and discuss about the issue with customer and find the solutions. The second business is, sorry, one moment, please. Wait a moment, please. Okay. The second project is the on-site service. So this service is our company have the facilities in customers' premises, like cogeneration, chiller, and or solar panel. And today, so I would like to explain about cogeneration systems. Okay. Moment, please. For the first chapter, I explained about our company. And the second chapter, I would like to explain the general GHG reduction measures. So when we think about the GHG reduction, so we think these three approaches are very important for GHG reduction. The first one is renewable energy generation. The second one is energy saving. The third one is offset by renewable energy certificate. The left graph shows about the images of the power consumption before the countermeasures of the GHG reduction. And the right one is the images of after countermeasures of the GHG reduction. Could you see the right one? So firstly, so it is really recommended that you will install some kind of the renewable energy power plant like a solar. It is really easy, and every factory can introduce. So it is really meaningful. But aside from that, the solar panel is only generate the power only during the daytime. So that is why not only renewable energy, but also the energy saving approaches is also needed. Because currently a lot of countries have the target to achieve the carbon neutral. And also the factory also have the target to achieve the carbon neutral and have some milestone. For example, until 2025, they would like to reduce the CO2 50% or something. But only solar can only reduce 10% or 20% of the total energy. So it means another approach is really needed, including the energy saving. And the offset is the renewable energy certificate or carbon credit. And actually, so in general, the international carbon credit, international renewable energy certificate, IREC, is popular in some countries. But anyway, so we think the combination of the three approaches are really important to achieve the carbon neutral. And today, I would like to explain about the energy saving. Actually, so we think that there are two methods of the energy saving. The first one is the energy saving without investment. I mean, the operation improvement. The second one is the energy saving with investment. I think it means introducing high efficient facilities. For the operation improvement, so I think the first measures are leakage check. For example, so if there are some leakage from the steam or compressed air or hot sources, so there are a loss of the energy. And if you can find the leakage of the steam trap or compressed air pipe or insulation, so it is really helpful to save the energy. And the second one is the adjusting the parameters. This is an example of the compressed air. And if the compressed air setting is the high, it consumes the energy so much. But if you can reduce the pressure or temperature, so it can reduce the energy so easily. So that is one of the approach of the energy saving. But the second one is introducing the high efficiency facilities. So, and this day, so we can use the JCM financing program. And today, so I would like to explain about the cogeneration, but not only cogeneration, but also a lot of type of various of the facilities can be adopted for this JCM subsidy, like a chiller and boiler or a heat pump. Also, the inverters for the pumps or fans is also promising ways to approach the energy saving. Okay, then secondly, I would like to explain about the cogeneration. So cogeneration is the gas engine and some auxiliary units. And this facility input is the natural gas. And it can generate electricity. But aside from electricity, we can use the exhaust gas for the steam and chilled water. So usually when we use only for electricity, the generation efficiency is only 40%. But if we use the electricity, steam, and chilled water, the total efficiency get to be 80%. It is very high efficiency, and it can reduce the CO2 so much. So the advantages of the cogeneration system is the high total efficiency I explained. And the second one is the contribution for power stability for the factory. I mean, this is a gas engine, and it can operate during the blackout. And some areas, so the grid power is not stable. But if you use this kind of the cogeneration, you can get the merit of the power stability. But there are some attention points about the cogeneration. The cogeneration system needs stable fuel source like natural gas, LPG, or biomass fuels. So that is one of the most important things for the cogeneration. And secondly, the balance of the electricity and the heat is very important. As I mentioned on the previous page, if customer only use the electricity, the generation efficiency is around 40%. It cannot reduce the CO2. So that's why. So we think the factory uses the steam so much. It is really suitable for cogeneration. I think the industry company like fiber, rubber, chemical, or food industry is very good. But if customer does not have the heat demand, the cogeneration cannot save GHG and cannot save energy cost. That is the attention point. Okay. And finally, so I would like to explain about our project in Thailand. So we introduced the gas engine generator. The capacity is 5 megawatt multiple 2 units, and the gas boiler is around totally 5 ton per hour, and absorption chiller is around 800 USRT. And the total efficiency is 80%, and the expected GHG emission reduction is 16,000 tons CO2 per year. It is really big number. And let me explain about the structure of the JCM model project. So as Takahashi-san from JEC already explained, if you would like to apply this JCM model, so we have to make the international consortium. And in our project, the representative participants from Japan is our Japanese company, and the local partner is the 100% owned subsidiary in Thailand, our company. And we two company cooperate and offer the long-term energy supply contract to customer. And it means so we will install the facilities, and we will design and procure and construct and operation and maintenance, and we generate the electricity, steam, and chilled water, and sell to customer. That is our structure model. Okay, the summary. Firstly, I think if we would like to achieve the carbon neutral or carbon neutral milestone, the combination of these three approaches are very important. First one is renewable energy, and the second one is energy saving. The third one is offset by a renewable energy certificate. And the second point is one of the promising energy saving measures is the introduction of the cogeneration. So if the customer uses the heat and electricity, both of the heat and the electricity, it is really good for cogeneration. And the third one is the financing program for JCM model. It's really recommended to make the project feasible. So because this JCM model subsidized is really good for the investment. Yeah, that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fuji-san for that comprehensive presentation. I think it's helpful for the audience to see the actual project examples. So thank you very much for sharing that presentation. And with that, I think we're going to move on to the Q&A session for the Ishida-san and Fuji-san both. Since we didn't quite receive questions from the audience, specifically for your projects, but I think there are some things that would be helpful to sort of explore a little bit further for the audience today. So maybe we'll start with Ishida-san from AAIC. Yeah, you already had a slide about very practical advice for anyone who's interested in applying for JCM. And I think you raised the point of starting from sort of GHG emission calculation and sort of overall project design, and then sort of move on to different other document preparation. But are there any other sort of important points, something that you sort of remember being important, or maybe on sort of the retrospect you thought it was important when you were forming a JCM project? So go ahead if you could sort of share your thought on that first.
Okay, thank you for the question. What I can say is, but I emphasize the importance of the partner, could be both, and for the local partner, the Japanese company, for the Japanese company, the local partners. So it's not like just for the applications. Also, even after the application, we are supposed to report every month after completion. So we have to do the annual.
Nous allons voir comment tout ceci.
Oops, sorry about that. I think it's an interpreter coming in. I think you can continue.
Okay, let me get so after even 7 or 10 years is a long partnership. Also, the person who is in charge can maybe be replaced as a person. So we have to make sure that we can trust each other. And then sometimes a quick response is required after application. There are a lot of the Q&A session from the GC, and we have to answer those questions promptly. So first, we have to develop the relationship, of course. And maybe another point is that if possible, it's better to identify the or maybe fix the critical equipment, also such as maybe turbine or module, our case. Otherwise, if you change those kind of equipment, also it affects a lot to other calculations, numbers, and it will require a lot of work after maybe application. Sometimes it's we have to change, but it will be good to focus on that kind of decide the key components. And then, of course, other change can happen in the future, but that should be fine. So that could be my maybe sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If we could stay on the screen with us. But yeah, thank you very much for sharing that. I think that you raised 2 points: trusting relationship with your partner in a local country and having a solid plan when you apply. I think we also, as organization, to sort of review the applications and sort of oversee the progress of projects. I think we have to agree that having a very strong relationship with the local partner also makes the job easier for us as well. So thank you for that. I think that's a very important point. So if you, Ishida-san, if you could stay with us, and then maybe I can bring Fuji-san from the Kansai Electric Power to the screen, and I would like to ask you the same question. So as a company sort of implementing a project in a sort of completely different region of the world, so if you could share your thoughts on important points about forming a JCM project.
Yeah, my opinion is almost same as Ishida-san. The partnership is really important, and our company's business is a one-stop service. So it means the customer, our customer only buy the electricity or steam. So and all application will be done by our company. So it is really easy. But so it means that in our project, so this scheme is not so problem. But when we think about the normal projects, so the Tunisian company have to explore the Japanese partner. So it is one of the big step. And aside from that, the point of the JCM subsidy is the schedule. Usually the JCM first call is conducted on the May or April. So we have to prepare the document within this schedule. So that is one of the big important issues. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the strong partnership is a very shared and common sort of challenge, I think, could be to some companies, but also a very important point for successful JCM projects. So thank you very much. Since we have a little bit of time, I'd like to ask you one more question, if you don't mind. So maybe this is a little bit related to what I just asked. But throughout the formation of JCM project, implementation of project, I think you've certainly come across challenges. The first thing I can think of is COVID. I think your project both sort of went through the sort of pandemic, sort of later phase of the pandemic, I'm thinking, but yes, it doesn't have to be COVID. Any challenges and how you overcame those challenges, I think will be also beneficial for the audience. So perhaps we can start again with Ishida-san from AIC on that point.
Okay, thank you for that question. Mine was after COVID-19, and it affects actually a lot, especially for the supply chain problem. We had a plan to buy specific modules, inverters, but a lot of delays, also lack of inventory of the manufacturers. Maybe Fuji-san agrees with that things. And this kind of thing it's not being anticipated, so difficult, but I'm not sure if I was able to overcome, but GC also helped us a lot. I mean, they are the judges, so maybe you might be afraid to approach them. But actually, even before the application, you can apply for the kind of Q&A session once you complete the sheet, and you have kind of ask some questions. They are quite open to answer those questions. And after application also maybe was awarded, there are some meetings, and sometimes they bring a tough question. But if you are able to address those questions, also which make it clear that how you are eligible for this project. Also, in case you have challenges, especially for the first time, I had a lot of questions and tough time, but also GC, the people also supported us a lot. Of course, we have to go through all the manual first and then ask questions, but it's good to develop the good project together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that insight. So now we go back to Fuji-san and ask the same question.
Yeah, in my case, it's almost same as the Ishida-san. So in our project for this cogeneration project, we also suffered from the COVID-19. And our cases, so the supervisors of the cogeneration generator couldn't come to the site because of that. So we had to postpone the operation date for around 6 months. And but actually this JCM project, the term is within the 3 years, and JEC is supported us. So that's why we could complete this project. So that is really helpful. That was really helpful for us. So I think that of course there are a lot of difficulties, but the communication with the GEC can support the project smoothly. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for those, you're sharing your thoughts. Yes, I think the supply shortages could be still a problem, even though COVID pandemic is not so much felt on a personal level anymore. So perhaps a way forward would be to plan ahead. And yes, as you both mentioned, thank you for saying those kind words. GC, we're also very open to answering questions, consultations. We're here to sort of work with the companies to push the project forward. So yeah, thank you very much for coming back to the screen to answer those questions. I think they were very insightful for the audience. And also thank you for the presentations earlier as well. So I think, thank you. With that, I think we are going to move on to the closing remarks. And before we invite the speaker for the closing remarks, I'm sorry, Kimura-san, just wanted to mention again that AskGC is always open for consultations, individual consultations with the companies who are interested in using JCM scheme, where we can have online meetings. We can also have in-person meetings as well, but we're very much open to those consultations. So please feel free to contact us. Our email address is on our website. And as the last two speakers brought up, having a strong partnership in both Japan and in the local country is very much key to a successful project. So the JCM Global Match, which was sort of mentioned, introduced by Takahashi-san from GC. It's a matchmaking website where private companies are registered from all over the world, not just Japan and Tunisia, but also other partnership JCM partner countries as well. And it's free to use, it's free to sign up. So please take a look at the website if you're not registered yet. It's a great tool to finding partners in different countries. So with that, without further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Yuji Kimura. He's Executive Director, Head of the Tokyo office at Global Environment Center Foundation, for the closing remarks for today's webinar. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Yamaguchi-san. Bonjour. Hello, everybody. I am Yuji Kimura from Global Environment Center Foundation. On behalf of the organizers, I'd like to say a few words as a closing address. First, we deeply appreciate all of you for participating in today's seminar. We are also very grateful for the kind cooperation by the Ministry of Environment of Tunisia. Without your cooperation, we hadn't been able to hold this seminar successfully. Tunisia became a JCM member country in August 2022, and the first member country that agreed upon the new rules and guidelines corresponding to the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. Today, we held the first JCM seminar in Tunisia. Through this seminar, we aim at creating opportunities for people in Tunisia and Japan to learn and deepen their understanding about the JCM itself and the JCM financing program. Today, we held a seminar in a webinar format, and thanks to you, we were able to have a lot of participants. For today's seminar, we have chosen contribution to GHG emission reductions in Tunisia through the JCM as the main theme, because this year is the first year for Tunisia to utilize JCM for accelerating GHG emission reductions. Tunisia's climate policy is to achieve 27% GHG reductions per GDP by the year 2030 compared to 2010 emission level. This reduction target is planned to achieve by Tunisia's own efforts, whereas more ambitious target of 45% reduction is pursued with international cooperation. Aiming at this target, the government is actively considering their own rules and criteria for utilizing Article 6 mechanisms, that is, voluntary cooperative approach among member countries of the Paris Agreement. In Japan, the government has established its GHG emission target as 46% reduction by the year 2030. It has also declared to achieve carbon neutral society by the year 2050. These developments were presented by the representatives from the Ministry of Environment of Tunisia and the Ministry of the Environment Japan in this seminar. In achieving these national targets and goals, the cooperation between Japan and Tunisia is becoming much more important than before. JCM is one of the effective measures to realize it, and high expectations are expressed by both governments' representatives. COP26 successfully agreed on a set of rules for the market mechanisms under the Paris Agreement. JCM is one of the leading models of voluntary approach under the category of market mechanism. And the COP's agreement has given a concrete basis for JCM. After COP26, the Japanese government set a goal to increase the number of JCM partner countries up to approximately 30. And Tunisia is one of the leading countries among them. We are now at the first step toward starting our efforts to develop JCM projects, as many as possible, in Tunisia, and contributing to GHG reduction nationally and globally. From this point of view, in today's seminar, we have tried to give you the detailed information on how JCM model projects are proposed, selected, and advanced towards the project completion. We also invited a UNIDO representative to present their financial support schemes to promote JCM projects in Africa. Another objective of today's seminar was to show you a couple of good examples of JCM model projects with a view to providing you with concrete ideas on how JCM projects are formulated and implemented, and how challenges are addressed. From these points of view, we picked up two promising JCM model projects. One is solar power projects, and other is a gas cogeneration and absorption chiller project. Representatives from AAIC Japan and the Kansai Electric Power showed us the clear images of the projects. JCM has a great potential to promote the introduction and dissemination of a variety of decarbonizing technologies and contribute to combating climate change, as well as achieving sustainable development goals in Tunisia. I hope this seminar has provided all the participants with the opportunity to know and utilize JCM. We are assisting companies which are interested in JCM through individual consultations. In addition, our JCM Global Match provides opportunities for various companies interested in JCM to find each other and formulate JCM projects together. We hope today's participants will actively use these opportunities. We are planning to hold webinars for other partner countries, so we would appreciate it if you could join us again. Finally, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to all the speakers of their excellent contribution. Thank you very much, and merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Kimura-san, for the closing remarks and that summary of today's webinar. And many thanks again to all the speakers who were here today for their great presentations. We certainly hope it was insightful and valuable for our audience in Japan, Tunisia, and other countries. If you have any questions that were not answered today, again, we're open to answering any questions anytime. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us anytime. And we would also like to thank the Ministry of Environment of Tunisia and the Ministry of Environment of Japan for co-organizing with us today's event. And before we close, please take a moment to answer the questionnaire that will show up on your web browser when you close this screen. It will be very, very beneficial for us to improve our future online events. And with that, thank you very much for participation, and we look forward to seeing your project soon. And have a good night and have a good afternoon. Au revoir. Thank you.